Welcome to our house. This is the Screenplay Podcast. I'm your host, Evan Grenis, and with me, as always, is PGA Tour player Andrew Novak.
What's up, everyone? Coming to y'all live from Utah this week. We had a big week of football and our first big splash coach news of the year. So can't wait to get into it.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Screenplay_podcasts. New episodes every Wednesday, 8 a.m., wherever you listen to podcasts. We've also partnered with Wager Games. They're giving our listeners a $100 deposit match on the Sleeper app. Get the promo code by clicking the link in our Instagram bio. I'm looking at it right now. I like the Geno Smith more than 250 pass yards on Thursday. Again, go to our Instagram, click the link, promo code, get your $100 deposit match. Okay, so Saleh is gone. The Chiefs are playing circus tricks on prime time. Kirk Cousins is back. There's a lot to get into. Let's start with the Monday Night Football. Chiefs defeat the Saints 26-13. The Chiefs had a missed field goal. They had a silly pick, and they won this game handily. Kelsey is out there throwing laterals. Kareem Hunt is rushing for over 100 yards. Juju Smith is now a wide receiver one again. I feel like this might be the best team in the NFL, and I feel like it's not close. This defense led by Steve Spagnuolo is shutting everyone down. Held Alvin Kamara to 66 total yards. They made it seem like Chris Olave wasn't even playing. What did you see out there?
Yeah, we had talked in the offseason about what the Chiefs were going to do. And because we basically kind of agreed, it came down to they either got to keep L'Jarius Sneed or they got to keep Chris Jones. And which way were they going to go with that? And I kind of thought they were going to keep Sneed and let Jones walk. They went the other way with it, and that's looking like a great decision. Their secondary has been strong. The defensive line has been eating people up. The Saints have been running on everybody this year and had nowhere to run. Now they did have to kind of get away from the run getting down early, but I mean they still ran the ball 15 times. It could not get anything going the entire game. So it was suffocating from the Chiefs really, and the score being what it is doesn't really show how much of a blowout it was because I mean, really, Juju dropped a touchdown that turned into a pick, which turned into a touchdown. I mean, that was like a
Yeah,
14-point
yeah,
swing right
I
there.
know exactly. Yeah. Carr gets knocked out of the game late. I think they're saying he's out for a few weeks now. It's not just going to
Yeah,
be the rest of the game.
yeah,
So
multiple week oblique injury.
yeah, but Juju Smith, Kareem Hunt, two guys that couldn't make a roster elsewhere, are back with the Chiefs and looking like old times. Do you think the Chiefs can go 17-0? I mean, they have so many injuries, so many players out, and they're still looking like this, just getting win week in and week out. Do you think 17-0 is a possibility?
I think no for the simple. I mean, anything's possible with this team, but I would say no for the simple reason that they have bigger aspirations than just like 17-0. Like this is a team that cares about Super Bowls, and if that means that they rest guys in the regular season, if that means that certain guys take a little longer coming back from certain injuries to make sure they're right, like they will do that. So
Yeah, if
I
there's
do think
one thing the
they'll,
Patriots didn't do, it was three-peat. No one's ever done that. So
yeah.
you win three in a row. You're the greatest team slash
Mhm.
dynasty ever. Let's get to Sunday night football. Cowboys defeat the Steelers 20-17. I really don't get the Cowboys at all. I mean, they're away at
You bet
Pittsburgh.
them.
I bet them because I thought it was a terrible bet. And, oh man, they're missing Micah Parsons. They're playing a good rushing team. The Dallas rush D has been terrible. And they go out and they hold Pittsburgh to 226 total yards. And Dak, despite not playing well, didn't have a great game. He shows the fans of Dallas, this is why you paid me $60 million. He gets a walk-off touchdown basically on fourth down there. He's earning his money. Uh, CD was ineffective in this game. It was really some other players that not many people have heard of that stepped up. Jalen Tolbert, Rico Dowdle. They put up some good numbers in this game and really helped the Cowboys get over that Steelers defense.
Yeah, the Cowboys running the ball in this game, I thought opened up a lot for them. It's not something they've really done this year. Zeke has not looked very good. Dowdle has looked okay at times, but I don't think he'd had more than maybe 12 carries in a game before this. He really hadn't been, allowed to get in a rhythm or leaned on much at all, and I thought it gave him a nice little element in this game. Obviously, they never really got CD cooking, but it did open up other things for other guys. Um, Specifically, like Ferguson in the short passing game was getting going a bit, which is if you get the linebackers cheating up trying to play the run, you can kind of get that opened up a little bit more. Um, I don't know
Did
why.
this game give some confidence back to that Cowboys? Do you think? I mean, they held Pitt to 93 rush yards, and they're a top
Yeah,
10 rushing team. So it's not like this was just a
yeah.
crappy rush team. I mean, without
I
Micah, they
think
really held
I
their
think
own
Arthur
ground there.
Smith's just an idiot. Like he's so stupid. Like this is Dallas's run D has been so bad. You have Justin Fields at quarterback. Why do you have more passes than runs? That should not happen. In fact, it should be like double the rush attempts to passes in this game. It's not like they were getting blown out in this game. It's not even like they were losing in this game. Like they were leading this game at the end of the third quarter. There's no reason that they should have had more passes than runs in this game. That makes no sense. I mean, they could have I know they have like running back injuries, like Cordero's out and Jalen Warren was out. So it was pretty much just Najee. But Najee's the kind of guy that can take 20, 25 carries because Justin Fields is also probably going to take a few carries as well. Like there was no reason that this should not have been a more physical game plan.
Najee's just kind of a disappointment. This week he had 14 attempts, 42 yards. He hasn't gone over 70 yards on the year. I mean, Fields rushes it a lot, but with Warren out, I thought Najee would have done a little more. Uh, I texted you this, or maybe I texted somebody else this. I can't remember, but I got Rico Dowdle on my fantasy team. He's been sitting the bench all year. He finally pops off, has a good week. Is he the type of player that like you think I can start putting in the lineup, or is just an odd week where he happened to go off? Because he got 20 attempts. I think it was 2 catches, 1 receiving touchdown, 87 yards. Those are really good numbers.
Yeah. Well, for me, this is the second week in a row that I've started Rico Dowdle because my running back room is a nightmare. But he's actually paid off. I would say I don't know if you're going to get this much from Rico going forward. I don't know if he gets 20 carries in a game again. The Cowboys ran over 70 plays of offense in this game. Um, I still think that they get other guys involved, but if you're in a pinch, yeah, you probably can. I would not have considered this a great matchup, but I think there are times where he will be viable. Um, I also don't think this is a terrible sell high point on him either, if
Right.
that becomes a thing, because I do think in games that they're losing, I don't know if Rico's going to get a ton of passing game work because they really seem to like Hunter Lipke, I think you said, and some of the things he can do in pass catching and blocking. So it's not like he's going to take a stranglehold on the backfield, but I mean he's a solid secondary option if you have nothing else.
Yeah. Sunday morning football from London. Vikings defeat the Jets 23-17. You were on the Vikings here. Got yourself a win.
Mhm.
We were just going to talk about this game, but breaking news, Robert Saleh fired from the Jets organization. Woody Johnson hands that down to him. He was blindsided, I guess. I guess security had to bring him out of the Jets building. I'm shocked that they did this. I saw this stat today. 27 teams have fired their coach before week 6. Only one of those teams has made the playoffs, and that was John Gruden's Raiders. So he got fired for non-football reasons. Doesn't
Yep.
really count. So kind of 0-26 if you fire your coach before week 6. I think this was a weird move. What do you think?
I think this move more than anything just signifies who won the power struggle. Um, I do think that changes probably were necessary for the Jets because yes, they're 2-3, but like eye test, it's been bad. I think,
But eye test says the offense has been bad.
and that's where I'm saying the power struggle is either you fire Hackett and figure out the offense that way, or you fire Saleh. And I think this signifies that Aaron Rodgers is the one with all the power right now because he's
Yeah.
not going to fire his
Yeah.
boy Hackett. He's going to fire Saleh. If it's whoever if it's the GM, if it's Saleh making the calls, well, he's not going to fire himself, and you're not going to fire him. You're going to fire the root of the problem, which is your offense, your offensive coordinator. Get him out of there. Get somebody that actually is going to enforce a proper offense, and see how that goes. So I think this is a pretty like glaring example of basically it is Aaron Rodgers just running this right now.
Yeah, Woody Johnson said he talked to Aaron Rodgers on, I believe it was Monday night, and they said they didn't discuss Saleh. Yeah, right. Either that's the biggest lie I've ever heard, or he really didn't give Rodgers a heads up at all. Yeah, Rodgers is running this organization. The Jets have 93 points through the first 5 weeks. That's the same as their
Mhm.
points scored last year with Zach Wilson. Same record, same points scored. Zach Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, doesn't matter. I'm not saying firing Saleh was the wrong thing to do. It just seems like a weird spot to do it when you have a game coming up on Monday night against the Bills, and if they win that game, they're in first place of the division. So seems like a really early call to let Salah go.
I think, I mean, it's got to be like behind door. It's got to be bumping of heads between him and Aaron Rodgers. Like that's the pretty much the only thing that makes sense in this situation.
Yeah, let's talk about the game a little bit. You said you weren't able to watch it, but did you see the replays of that?
I saw,
The pass interference penalties alone on the Jets were crazy. I thought
Mhm.
Sauce Gardner had a terrible
Yeah,
game. He was just
yeah,
grabbing Jefferson all day. He had an interception in the end zone that he let go right through his hands. He was out in the second half. This is why you pay JJ the big bucks. When you look at his stat line, it's nothing crazy.
this
Six
is,
for
yeah.
14, 92 yards. Like, okay, whatever. When you look at that, you're like,
Mhm.
fine. They were just targeting JJ all game because if he wasn't catching the ball, the
Yeah,
cornerbacks were ripping him down and they were
yeah.
getting free plays everywhere.
And this was the game. I did go through and watch the highlights. This is the game that like if your fantasy league includes like points for the receiver for pass interference, which is a thing, like it actually feels kind of like valid because his impact on the game is not complete. I mean, he had a good stat line, but like Justin Jefferson has definitely had better games. Like he
But
had
he
a
could have
massive
easily
impact
gone
in
for
this game.
200 plus had some of those
Right.
penalties not been there.
Yeah.
That it just really shows why they're paying him
Hmm.
such money that they are. What he's doing to those defenses is crazy. Let's go to Thursday night football. Falcons defeat the Bucks 36-30. Game of the year in my mind. I mean, there was another good game this weekend we'll talk about, but I think this was the game of the year. This is what we want to see on Thursday night. Standalone game. I loved it. Absolute QB duel. Kirk gets the better end of it, throwing for 509 yards. Let's talk about that play at the end of the game. There's 12 seconds left. Kirk's got the ball. They got to get it down a little further, get Koo out there, hit a field goal. They throw the slant route inside, clock the ball, get Koo out there, hit it. That was just, oh, that was spectacular to
Yeah.
watch. It kind of felt to me like if that was the Cowboys, they would have taken 1 second too long. Like,
They
but
wouldn't. Yeah. Yeah.
but the Falcons were able to pull it off. And
They
then
almost messed it up too. London got a little greedy.
he
Like
got a
he
little
caught
greedy.
that
Yeah.
slant. He caught that slant and took another 2, 3 steps. Like that's one where you catch that and you pretty much just go down. Like I know it's cool. Like he's got the range, but um yeah, I mean they ran that to perfection. Like they obviously they knew that was the plan going in because like everybody was already hustling up to the line. Like they knew what they were doing. That's just good coaching.
Yeah. Kirk, first quarterback ever to throw for 250 plus in the first half and second half. I don't know if you saw this, but that game was the Matt Ryan Hall of Fame induction night into the Falcons Hall of Fame. Uh, Matt Ryan had the current record for most yards thrown in a game for the Falcons. 2016, 503 yards. I love the fact that Kirk just went out there on Matt Ryan Hall of Fame night and broke his record. I don't know if Matt Ryan's like pumped up that they won the game or he's like, wait, how many yards is that? Damn. Like, I thought that was pretty good. London looked really good. You said you traded for him in your fantasy league. That paid off
Yeah,
this week.
that paid off big time. It a lot of it comes down to they've been using him in the slot a ton, and he's been just getting. I mean, he's getting unbelievable mismatches in the slot. Basically in zone, he's got linebackers trying to slide over and cover him. He's too big, he's too fast, and they're creating mismatches that way. I think it's been a nice change for them. It's allowing Mooney to work a little bit more of like the intermediate. Some of the comebacks he was running, they kept missing on some of the comebacks, but a lot of crossers and stuff like that. It feels like guys are really slotting into the roles nicely. We even saw Kyle Pitts emerge in this game, which I
Yeah,
mean that's how you know how much of a
eight
crazy
eight
game it was.
targets, 7 catches. Yeah.
Yeah. But Kirk just seemed so on time in this game. Like he was out of sync in other games. His feet were a little off. It seemed like he didn't want to push off his back foot. But in this game, it was boom, boom, boom. He knew what he was doing. He was putting the ball in the numbers, and it was really, really impressive.
Let's go to an upset of the week. Cardinals defeat the 49ers 24-23. Kyle Shanahan, another blown lead. It's not just becoming a thing. It is a thing. Kyler Murray did Kyler Murray things. Trying to pull out the comeback win on the road. The 49ers now fall to 2-3 and are tied with the Cardinals in the NFC West. 49ers have dropped 3 of the last 4. Their only wins this season are against the Patriots and the Jets. Not great teams. What's going on with the 49ers? I mean, is it time to worry there in San Francisco?
It worry about like not like missing the playoffs. I don't think so, but there's definitely some concerns. Like this run defense just did not have it against the Cardinals. Like Kyler and James Conner were
James Conner looked
running
good.
all over.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were running all over him. That needs to be cleaned up for sure. Like this is a 49ers team that prides himself on both of their lines, and that's definitely not something they want to see. And then the turnovers. I mean, I talked about it before. Like Purdy has gotten away with murder and gotten away with not throwing some picks in the past, and I caught up to him with that deflected pick at the end there. It's just like some of these luck plays. Like you can't be doing that. Can't be putting the ball in harm's way. He's been efficient this year, throwing for a lot of yards, but you can't be turning the ball over at that rate.
Yeah. Ayuk finally had a good game, 8 for 12, 147 yards, and it leads to a loss, which is like one of my reasons why I think paying the big bucks to that receiver, Ayuk, probably wasn't a play. Like he had a great game. Ayuk, fantastic player. You gave him a ton of money. It doesn't directly affect wins and losses and get it and winning the Super Bowl. Kyler Murray had a Heisman moment, put his hand up in the air with 40 yards to go as he's passing defenders. Pretty cocky move, but when you get to the end zone, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean he's that fast. I thought it was a little early, but he was if you're even, you're leaving. So uh, that was good decision to pull there and take it.
The big thing with the 49ers is their red zone offense. Major difference from last year. So last year they had the number 1 red zone offense. What are they this year? What do you think?
They've kicked a lot of short field goals this year. It's got to be like bottom 5, bottom 8.
Yeah, number 29. They're 9 for 22 in red
They've
zone
kicked
offense.
so many
And
short field goals.
what's the one piece missing that affects that?
McCaffrey.
Yeah. So McCaffrey in the red zone is what it's what the 49ers are missing right now. So
Hmm.
hopefully he comes
Yeah,
back sooner rather than later.
it's. I mean, Mason's great at running the ball, and he has
Right.
been a really solid fill-in.
But not the
But
pass
there's
catcher.
nobody that runs a Texas route like
Yep.
McCaffrey. That you can't just like come out and then all of a sudden motion him out to the slot and then have him cook a linebacker and just get a free touchdown off of that. Like I don't know. I'd love to see them do some of that with Debo when they get in the red zone, to almost like kind of mimic that a little bit. I know that he does get in the backfield at times and they do some of that, but I do think they've got to be a little bit more creative in the red zone to maybe you know put more touchdowns on the board instead of field goals.
I agree. Texans defeat the Bills 23-20. Josh Allen had the worst game of his career. The Bills coaching staff made some questionable play calls for the second week in a row. The Bills go from Super Bowl hopefuls to what's going on like real fast. Meanwhile, the Texans without Mixon continue to struggle, but they quietly sneak to 4-1. They get another win. Allen goes 9 for 30, 131 yards, 1 touchdown. He was 1 for 16 on throws, 10 plus yards. The story here has to be the play calling at the end and also the Josh Allen injury. I don't know if he was concussed. He hit his head pretty hard. They were saying it was an ankle injury. I don't know who's using smelling salts for an ankle
He
injury.
he absolutely got rolled up. Like you can see in the replay, his ankle did twist a bit, but there is no way that is the only thing it was. I mean, he
Right.
was he was out.
Yeah, but the score is 20-20. The ball's on the 1 yard line. You throw it 3 times in a row. This is post Allen likely being concussed. You give the ball back to the Texans. Fairbairn is a great field goal kicker. If they get the ball anywhere up there, he's gonna make it. It doesn't make sense. It's really scenarios like this that make me question whether or not there is a script because there was no logical reason for them to be calling the plays that they were calling at the end of that game. I really don't get it. To Josh Allen is having an off night throwing the ball downfield. The one
Mhm.
thing you can't do is give the Texans the ball back at the end of the game there and give Fairbairn a chance. And your kicker, your punter, is not going to be able to
Yeah,
get a full 100% punt out when you're backed up that far. Not just
yeah,
what they were doing didn't make sense. They weren't throwing the ball well. They were running the ball well that game. So why not run it?
yeah.
I don't get it.
They clearly were missing Shakir in this game. I mean, he is definitely their best wide receiver. I don't think it's really that close right now. Obviously, like
That is a good
To be
point. Yeah, that's a
Josh
good
Allen needs to be
analysis.
better, but his wide receivers were brutal in this game. Like obviously you'd like to see Kincaid do a little bit more, but Keon Coleman is not a good football player.
You said this before the
Max,
draft. You didn't like
he is
him.
not good. He's not good. He had a touchdown. He had one catch on fire. He got he busted coverage. He was wide open and ran down the sideline. Like whatever. Like he's not good. Um, Curtis Samuel, absolute no show in this game. So
I
yeah,
thought Curtis Samuel
they
would be
never got
better than he
anything
was.
going.
Yeah.
So they really do need Shakir back, and yeah, it's obviously just a forgettable game for them.
All right. The Ravens defeat the Bengals 41-38. Joe Burrow said post game in his press conference, they are not currently a championship level team, which is true. They're 1-4, and their only win is coming against the Panthers. What did you make of this comment?
He's been to the Super Bowl. He knows what it looks like. He's won national championships on the college level. Like he knows how it's supposed to look. And frankly, he's not wrong. Like it's not all there. I do think the Bengals have kind of gotten better each week, sort of thing. Obviously, the Ravens are a very, very good football team, and you'd like to beat them at home, but it was a close game, and they just messed up their opportunity to win with the snap there on the field goal. But it is what it is. Like
I mean, I
there's
think it's
like
becoming
you
pretty
have
clear
to.
that they've been getting rid of pieces on defense. Their defense is trash. Do you think like
Yeah,
this makes an argument to pay Chase or not to pay him? Because he's performing at a crazy great level, but it's not leading to victories.
I think I think you pay him. I think you pay him because you don't want to sacrifice offense. I think they like obviously like, I just don't think your defense is going to get fixed this year, but you're going to just have to hit defense hard in the draft. Pay your guys on offense and then try and build young on defense, while you can have them on cheaper contracts.
So I guess the question is, can the Bengals overcome this? Let's look at their upcoming schedule. They're what 1-4. They're at the Giants, then they got Browns, Eagles, Raiders. So not the most difficult schedule. They'll probably have to go 3 or 4 there to
Yeah, well,
get back
and the
into
next game
it.
after the Raiders is at Baltimore.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
realistically, you need,
4 or
even if you win
5.
three of those five, you're sitting at 4-6. Like you're flirting with it. Now, I will say the AFC looks to be a
The
lot weaker than the
AFC
NFC.
is very
So
weak. Yes.
I think you could maybe get away with it a little bit. Um, but it's not like they're in a weak division where like 10 wins is probably winning the division. Like I think this Ravens team is definitely getting well over double digit wins.
Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
was looking at the AFC. Other than the Chiefs and the Texans, I feel like they're almost
the
locked
rest
into the
is
playoff. The rest is like
oh,
it's a
the
crap.
Bills. That division's so bad. I still think the Bills take that division. But
Yeah. All right. The Jaguars defeat the Colts 37-34. The Jaguars took a pretty sizable lead in the fourth quarter in this one, but Joe Flacco and the Colts did everything they could try to do to spoil the Jags and getting their first win of the season. Flacco, 33 of 44, 359 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He kept hitting Alec Pierce. He went 3 for 3, 134 yards, a touchdown. Kid was averaging 44 yards per catch. Uh, Pittman looked a lot better. When Flacco's out there, these wide receivers they look like really good wide receivers.
yeah, this is the second year in a row that Flacco has come in for bad quarterbacks and all of a sudden made the offense look better. Um, it's I don't know how he's doing. I mean, dude's just timeless.
I
He's
think it's got
impressive.
to be some sort of there's got to be like a free uh, he must be playing very free out there. So when you have $200 million in the bank, how many Super Bowls does Flacco have? Is it one or two?
He just got one.
Either way, he's got an MVP, a Super Bowl, 200 million in the bank. I mean, he's going out there and slinging it. If he throws a couple picks, he's not worried about it. Playing with that type of freedom is really nice. I was looking through the Jaguars offense. They have so many weapons. Lawrence, Tank Bigsby coming along, ETN, Brian Thomas, great receiver. That's with Evan Ingram, Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk. The fact that they're 1-4 is unexcusable. I think with those type of weapons, they're going to start putting some wins together here soon. You think so or no? Or is that defense just that bad?
The defense is like the Jaguars secondary might be like one of the worst units I've ever seen um, in the NFL. Like they pretty much anybody that plays against them is it's like a guaranteed 300-yard passer. Like you could pretty much just stream quarterbacks against the Jaguars for the entire season, and I bet when we get to the end of the season, the total will end up being just like the quarterback won for the year. Like if you just took whoever played, like to add up the points every week, like that's how bad that secondary is. Um, I think their offense, yes, it has weapons, but like Ingram's been out. Thomas, they're finally getting him involved, but like the first few weeks, they weren't like really using him as much as they probably should. Um, I
He's
think there's
number 9
potential.
wide receiver in fantasy right now, and he's
Yeah,
just starting to get usage. He could pop
yeah,
into the top 5 by the end of the year.
yeah. I mean, he's a great fit for Trevor Lawrence. I think he's a great fit in this offense. They are definitely missing Ingram because Kirk's been all right, but like more of the underneath stuff, keeping the chains moving is going to be really big for this offense. Obviously, with how Tank's been running the ball, that's helping that a little bit too. Um,
Yeah,
but
so check this out. So this week they may have found something here. So they gave Tank the ball 13 attempts, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. ETN got 6 attempts, but he got 6 of 7 receptions. So they're going to start using ETN, it seems like, as more of the pass catcher wide receiver and start letting Tank take the ball. I mean, I don't think ETN was happy about that. And I think we saw it last week.
yeah,
I kind of called that, but maybe that works for them going forward. I was looking at
Tank's
said,
yeah. Well, Tank's just been running great. I mean, flat out, he's been more efficient and he's been a better runner so far than ETN. I don't think it's a terrible idea. ETN took a ton of hits last year. I mean, he had so many touches last year. It's maybe not a bad idea to lighten that load a little bit.
yeah. So I was looking at the Jags' upcoming schedule. They're 1-4. They got their 2 London games coming up. They're playing the Bears. They're playing the Patriots. I think they take both of those. They go to 3-4. They have a little bit of hope. And then they go into this tough part of the schedule where they play the Packers, the Eagles, the Vikings, the Lions, the Texans, that 5-week stretch. And I think they go like 1-5. And it's just done. I think they get a little bit of hope here over the next 2 weeks. And then they have to play some competition that I just don't think that they can handle. What do you think?
I mean, there's a possibility they win one of these two games only, and then go 0 for 5 in that stretch, and we see a coach gone and potentially like looking at like top 5, top 10 pick.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think Coach gone. So we're going into week 6, week 7, week 8. Yeah, I'm looking week 9, week 10, Eagles, Vikings, Lions, somewhere around there. We're seeing a coaching staff cleaning of house there. All right, let's go into the last one. We're going to talk about Broncos defeat the Raiders 34-18. Bo Nix is progressing. When we look at his first 2 starts versus his last 3, he is getting a tick better. 3-0 in his last 3 starts. His completion percentage has gone up 5%. Touchdown to pick ratio last 3 games 5-0. Passer rating has gone up 40 points. Still not a Bo Nix fan. I think his ceiling is very, very low, but whatever he's doing with Sean Payton, he's getting it down a little bit better. I'm really tired of the Raiders. I don't know what they are. I don't know what they're doing. They're like a piece of poop, just like a nice piece of poop with like glitter on it. Like it's just a nice stinky pile of poop, and you
Yeah,
put some glitter on it. That glitter is Devontae Adams. It's Max Crosby. It's an interim coach who is a player's coach, and you're in Vegas and you pretty it up, but it's still just a nice it's a big pile of poop. That's what the Raiders are. A
I
glittered
thought the
pile of poop.
Raiders. I was a little bit of a believer in the Raiders this year because I thought they were going to lean on the defense and like grind the ball out and play like tough, hard nosed football. And then like
Like,
their pass D has not been that great
what
this
are we gonna
year.
do? We're gonna play
It,
Gardner Minshew for about 2.5 quarters, and then we're gonna put AOC in and try to come back. And we're gonna have
he
Max
was worse.
Crosby. We're gonna have Max Crosby make a play or two and seem like we're gonna keep showing Devontae on the sideline. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing good going on there.
Like I feel like this team like I just don't know why they didn't go like draft a running back or try and get a better like this is a team that could have theoretically been okay. Like you have two good wide receivers, like you have two good young tight ends, like play a lot of 12 set.
That's why
Like
I'm saying
be
it's a
be a power
piece of
run
poop
team.
covered with glitter. They have all these like pretty
Just
names
just
and pieces,
you
and
could
it's
have been a
just
power run team, like a lot of hard play action, get the linebackers biting up,
no
Devontae and
run
Jacoby
game.
Miners cooking in behind. Like you easily could have done that, leaned on the defense. You could have won games kind of ugly. Like this was a team that I feel like could have been decent. They've just been really not good. I
All
think
right,
tank time
so
is coming
the
soon.
AFC we said this is trash. Broncos 3-2. We're looking at the Chiefs. They're going to be locked into the playoffs. Texans are probably locked in. I'm looking Ravens, Bills. They're probably going to win their division. After that, we're looking between Broncos, Steelers, Chargers, Jets. I even throw Dolphins in there because Tua is probably going to come back. Like, do you think the Broncos can make the playoffs this season?
Uh, the defense is pretty good, but uh,
Sertan is on fire. I mean, he
yeah,
is shutting down everyone. If you
he's
have
like
an offensive piece of weapon in fantasy and they're playing Denver, like I don't really care what the name is. Don't start him that week.
he's a very very serious contender for defensive player of the year. In my like it's tough with the corners because it's like if you're not getting picks, like a lot of times it's like you don't get votes, but like if you just flat out don't get thrown at, like that's more valuable. Like
Right.
if you literally just lock down the side of the field, that's more valuable. Like it really is. Like I mean, he he got a pick this week, pick 600 yards. Like that was awesome. But like really, like flat out, his guys just aren't getting thrown at because they're just not open. Like he's just a black hole over there on defense. It's
Yeah.
really really impressive.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to our power rankings. At 10, we got the Bills 3-2. They dropped the last two. Allen is a boomer, a bust player right now. The coaching staff is not making great decisions. Big game this week against the Jets to get to the top of the AFC East. At 9, we got the Bucks 3-2. They easily could be 4-1. They ran into a 500-yard plus Kirk Cousins performance the other night. Baker's playing well. This Tampa team is solid. They're well coached. Bucks at 9. At 8, we got the Falcons. They just beat them. They're going to go right ahead of them. 3-2. Big Thursday night win in ATL by Kirk. They're starting to put it together. Situationally, I like how their coaching staff is handling things. We saw that with the 12-second play there at the end. At 7, Packers 3-2. Jordan Love can be a little reckless. The Romeo Dobbs situation is a little weird, but they can still score points fast, and their defense leads the NFL in takeaways. At 6, Commanders 4-1. I had to put them up here. They're just good. They keep winning. This week they blow out the Browns defense, who are actually a good defense. So the Commanders are here and they're legit. At 5, we got the Texans. They're 4-1. No Mixon. Collins just got hurt. They've been quiet, but they're 4-1. They're in an easy division. They're kind of just coasting. I think they're going to coast this season. They haven't looked spectacular, but 4-1. Can't argue with that. Lions 3-1. They just had a bye week. Teams that play the Lions have the worst combined point differential the following week. We're gonna keep a look on that for betting. They just came off a bye, so it's not gonna work this week. But the following week, the teams that play the Lions, worst point differential. So that means the Lions play tough. Number 3, we got the Ravens 3-2, 3-game win streak. Lamar is a unicorn. Henry looks good as ever. The only thing to look at here is defense is not as great as we're used to seeing out of Baltimore. At 2, we got the Vikings 5-0. The Jets defense gave the Vikings some issues. But Flores's defense is playing so well that they don't even really need to score that many points. They're 5-0 going into the bye week. They feel good. At 1, we got the Chiefs 5-0. Juju, Kareem Hunt, Air Bud. I mean, it doesn't matter who plays for the Chiefs. Like, put a cone out there. Like, Mahomes will get him a first down. Best defense, number 1 in the league. Chiefs haven't lost yet. They're staying there. All right, we got some talking points to get to here. Let's talk a little free agency. The trade deadline is November 5th, 4 weeks away. There are some rumors starting to heat up. What's a trade or two that you'd like to see happen that you think might happen over the next month?
So we talked about it last week, but obviously I'm still on the Devontae Adams to Washington train. I want to see it. I think it would be super fun. Uh, Another one, he's got to get out of Cleveland. He's been asking for it. Amari Cooper. I'm sending him over to the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, just lost Rasheed Rice. Juju just had a nice little resurgence, but I think Amari would fit really nicely in that offense. His ability to, win one-on-ones, win on the outside. I think it would add a nice little intermediate kind of weapon to help, open up maybe the backside of the field for Worthy taking the top off. And then lastly, this is kind of a bit of a wild card, but Max Crosby. I think Raiders go full blow it up rebuild. I could see. I debated on some teams, but I think it would be crazy if he went to Minnesota. If Minnesota basically just sold out, went for it, and added to their already top defense in the league.
I like him. Yeah, Devontae Adams, you've been on Washington. I still believe in that. I was thinking Bills maybe with the AFC just being as weak as it is. The Bills have one team to get through this year. That's the Chiefs. Uh, it's a really weak year in the AFC. If you're not the Chiefs and you think you have a chance to go for it, I think you do. Romeo Dobbs with the Packers wants, I don't know if he wants out, wants more money. I could see him being traded. I think the Steelers could use another piece. And I think they're in contention to make the playoffs, make some sort of push there. All right. What team with the negative record right now is most likely to make the playoffs? Got a couple of them.
Going through, I like the 49ers. They're 2-3. They're right there. They've got to clean some things up, absolutely, but definitely they have the highest potential of any of the teams that have a negative record, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. 49ers. Right behind them, though, I know they look like crap right now, and it's terrible, but the Dolphins are 2-3. Tua's gonna come back, and I'm looking at this upcoming schedule. It's a joke. Colts, Cardinals, Bills, Rams, Raiders. If they can take a couple of those and Tua comes back, and with how weak that AFC is, I wouldn't count the Dolphins out just yet. What team with a positive record are you just not buying?
I was flip flopping between two teams, but um, I'm gonna go with the Bears just because of how strong the NFC is and their
Yep.
division. They have looked decent, but I just think they pick up too many losses with the NFC being the way it is. But I'll also include the Broncos in there. I don't think they get it done. I don't think they're ready yet. But the AFC is weaker, so um, my main one, I'm going with the Bears there.
Yeah, the NFC North. They all have winning records at the moment. It's never happened that all teams from a division make the playoffs, but that is a possibility the way things are set up this year. I'm not buying the Cowboys at 3-2. Look at this upcoming schedule. Lions, 49ers, Falcons, Eagles, Texans, Commanders. You said the Cowboys were going to roll off a bunch of L's before the season, and here it comes. Here it comes. Lions off a bye week. L's are coming. Let's talk about Deshaun Watson for a moment. It's 24-3, Washington. It's 4th and goal. There's 12 minutes left in the third quarter. The game is not over by any means. 24-3, beginning of second half. Deshaun Watson just walks off the field, doesn't let Stefanski go for it. It's a terrible look. The offensive players are like, what's going on? I don't know how you keep starting Deshaun. I mean, I guess with this contract you have to, but it is it is getting ugly there in Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see Jameis play instead of Deshaun. Although in that situation, best I could tell, they had 12 players on the field and there was 10 seconds or about on the play clock. They'd already used a timeout, so they weren't going to use another one. They were just going to take the delay of game, and he kind of realized that. And I don't know what the confusion was in the substitutions there, why they ended up with 12, but obviously, like, very, very poor timing for that to happen.
Deshaun Watson, 5 games this year, has not thrown for 200 yards in a single one of them. When do you think the last time that Deshaun threw for 300 yards was?
It had to have been with the Texans, so like 4 years ago, probably.
Yeah, week 17, 2022. It's been 4 years since Deshaun Watson has thrown 300 yards in a game. That's crazy. That's been a long time. It's not like a year and a half ago. And this contract, it's this year and 2 more of this. It's not this one and one more. I don't know what they're supposed to do. It is bad. What do you can't
Yeah,
keep playing Deshaun with
I mean, you have pieces that are like you're not in a rebuild. You have a contract for your quarterback that basically like you're not in a rebuild. Like I think you have at some point you have to roll Jameis out there and just
but
see
at
maybe
what
if we
point if
start
do
winning.
those
Like
pieces get pissed off and say we don't want Deshaun out
they
here?
are, they already are. Like
Yeah,
Amari Cooper wants out. Like bottom line, he wants out. Like uh, I don't know if Jameis would fix it. I don't know if they would be happier with Jameis, but like why not try? Like everybody already sees that it's a horrible contract. Stop just like pandering to the guy you're paying a ton of money. Like everybody sees it's not working. Just play Jameis. If nothing else, it will be entertaining, guaranteed.
I agree. All right, let's get to our this week's version of fact or fiction. Andrew has not seen these and he will let me know if it is fact or fiction. Kansas City has a bottom 3 red zone offense.
They've been bad. I'll go fact there.
It is fact. 38%. Number 30. The only worst teams are Miami and New England. Not good
Yeah,
company.
Mahomes is killing me in fantasy points because he can't score touchdowns.
The New York Jets lead the league in incompletions per game.
I'll go fact there.
It is a fact. They're averaging 14.6 incompletions per game. Good job, Aaron Rodgers. The New England Patriots are last in the league in yards per game.
I'm gonna go with fiction there.
It is. It's Cleveland, 239 yards a game. Good job,
Shout out to
Deshaun.
Sean.
Tyreek Hill is currently on pace to have less than 1,000 receiving yards.
I mean, that has to be a fact. He had like 100. No, he had like a. Yeah, I'll go fact there.
It
He's
is
had like a
fact.
few invincible
He's on
weeks.
pace to have 972.
Jeez.
Quite different than last year where we thought he was going to break 2K. Last one here. Vikings defense in fantasy is averaging 18 points per game.
Yeah, they've been incredible. They're the number one fantasy defense so far.
Uh, they are the number 1 fantasy defense. That's fiction though. 18 points is a
Oh, it's just
lot.
under.
Yeah, they're averaging
It's just
14,
under.
14 points per game.
It's always tough. We play
Yeah,
like different.
yeah.
They're averaging about 18 in our league,
Either
but
way,
we do like a little different scoring. But
18th,
yeah,
I have him down as the 18th best wide receiver. So if you got
that's
the
incredible.
Vikings defense, they're a top 20 wide receiver right now. They're just a nice little flex spot for you.
Fun fact: I actually think they're on waiver wire in our league right now, although they're on a bye week. So
That would make sense. All right, let's get into fantasy. Week 5 booms. There were a lot of them. I want to start this off here. There was a matchup in our league this week where Dustin, this kid, put up 164 points and got blown out. We are playing a 12-man PPR league. Our commish OB put up 187 points. So we're going to go through some of these booms that he had. Kyler Murray, 24. Drake London, 33. DJ Moore, 27. Tucker Kraft, 25. T. Higgins, 29. Fairbairn, 16. Broncos D, 16. 187 points in a 12-man league with both
that's
of your
strong.
running backs scoring under 10 points. Whew.
That is very strong.
That's a tough L to take if you put up 170 points and that happens. All right. Let's hear some of the booms that you got this week.
You just went through a lot of them, but
Yeah.
all the Falcons, Kirk, Darnell Mooney, Drake London, crazy, huge week on Thursday. And then that Ravens Bengals game shootout there. Lamar, Burrow, both putting up huge numbers. Jamar Chase, big splash week. He's always going to have a few of those every year. You mentioned Tucker Kraft, DJ Moore. I got to shout out Tank Bigsby though, 100 yards,
Yep.
2 touchdowns for Jacksonville. He's really been running hard.
All right, let's get over into our bust list. A little less of them. It was a big scoring week, but week 5 busts, who are there?
Yep, Brees has been rough, man. Brees Hall has not been good. He had another poor performance this week.
The
They're
Jets in
just
general, they're number 32 in rushing in the league with Brees and
Yep.
Allen, two legit backs there, and they're number 32. All right, keep
Well,
going.
it's because Aaron Rodgers is busy leading the league in completions. Uh, Deontay Johnson, just the Panthers offense never really got anything going in this game. Dalton came out of the game and they put Bryce Young back in at one point. There was a brawl on the field, like just a weird game. Never got anything going. Rough week for him. Tank Dell, Nico Collins went out of this game with a hamstring injury. He might be out for the next couple weeks even. Um, Even still, Tank Dell never really got anything going in this game against Buffalo. He's definitely been a huge disappointment this year. This next little stretch with Nico out might be kind of like put up or shut up time for him for fantasy owners. Debo, Ayuk, and Kittle both had good games, but Debo basically never got anything going against Arizona. Um, Definitely a flop week for him, but I would look to see him bouncing back in the near future. And then Chris Olave against the Chiefs, 2 catches, like 10 yards. Not a good day at all for him.
Yeah, a couple outs here. If you had Achan or Jones, I mean, they were healthy to start the day and left the game
Mhm.
really fast. So
Yeah.
that's
Aaron Jones
disappointing. If
looked good too, but like before he got hurt, he was
I
really
will
cooking.
say the Vikings looked a little different when Jones was out. They were not as strong in the run game, and it changed a
Yeah.
little bit. They're on a bye week, so I think it'll be okay. I want to highlight this: the Ravens D. They lost 2 points. When do you think the last time the Ravens D lost points in fantasy was?
It had to have been so long ago. The
I
Ravens
looked it
D in
up.
general has not been
I
great
had to
in fantasy
keep
this year.
scrolling. Yeah.
It it's been years. It had to have been.
Week 16 of 2021. It's been,
Wow.
yeah, what is that? 5 years since the Ravens have lost points on defense in fantasy. That's crazy. And then the last one I want to highlight here, it's not so much of a bust, but Bijan Robinson is a first round fantasy pick, and he has not scored more than 16 points in any week. He hasn't gone below 10, but he hasn't gone above 16. So every week, just 10 to 16 fantasy points out of your first round pick. I would like to see. I mean, I don't have him on my team. I'm okay with it, but I would have liked to have seen more points out of him if I did pick
Yeah.
him. Yeah. Let's move over into next week, week 6. There are some serious buys this week. Chiefs, Rams, Dolphins, Vikings. I mean, there are some hardcore fantasy players on those teams. So a lot of waiver wire action this week. Let's get to our starts. Who do you like this week?
So I just touched on it, but the Jaguars' pass defense is terrible. So I was kind of flopping back and forth, but I think this is the Robo-Doomsday week. I think he has a huge week against the Jaguars. I think you got to get him in there if you can. Uh, we just talked about it. The Jets have been a mess, and Brees Hall has been terrible, but he's playing the Bills. The Bills have been very poor at stopping pass catching running backs. I think Brees will get there through receiving work this week against the Bills. I think even, he's been rough, but you still got to keep him in there. And then it sounds like there is a chance that Russell Wilson plays this week instead of Fields. There are some rumblings about it. If that's the case, get George Pickens in there against Las Vegas. I think that's going to be a nice little pairing for those two.
All right, I like Jordan Love versus Arizona. I could see him going off for a big number there. Everyone runs all over Carolina, so if you have Algier, he's a viable option. Bijan Robinson, I expect him to go over that 16-point number. This is the
Yes.
week. This is the
Yes.
week. Pollard and Spears versus the Colts. Both of them are good to go. Wandell Robinson is getting crazy targets. He's playing the Bengals. They have a terrible D. Wandell Robinson's number 19 wide receiver. Get him in there. I normally don't like these two guys, but D Hop and Calvin Ridley, they're playing the Colts, so it's an opportunity for them to do something. And Tank Bigsby, I just like him as a player. I liked him last week. I don't think the matchup is necessarily great, but I think he's going to get work. Let's go over to the week 6 sits. Who do you got?
We talked about what Sertan's been doing. Quentin Johnson, we're just not running him out there against
I
the.
actually have Broncos versus Chargers. Basically, anyone on either one of those teams is a sit. You got two top 5 defenses playing each other. It's going to be a low scoring brawl there.
Yeah, it'll be slow paced, a lot of running. Yeah, I could see that being pretty tough. We just talked about how well he's been playing the last couple weeks, but Rico Dowdle's playing Lions. Lions run defense has been very, very solid. Kenneth Walker did exploit him a little bit, but I think it'll be a tough week for Rico Dowdle. If you probably have some better options there. And then I don't know if it'll be Zamir White or Alexander Madison, but they're playing the Steelers. I just don't see this being a great game at all for any of the Raiders running backs. Maybe Abdullah gets some passing work, but like it's going to be ugly.
Yeah. You highlighted this earlier. I do not like Keon Coleman versus the Jets. This could be another 2 target, 1 catch game for Keon. I don't like ETN. Chicago's D is solid, and ETN and the Jaguars are having something weird going on. Last one here is Cowboys defense. They have lost points twice this year, and they're playing the Lions off of a bye. I expect the Lions to come in there and drop 30 something points off of a bye. I do not like the Cowboys D this week. Waiver wire additions. Hit the people with some waiver wire additions to look at.
So for quarterbacks, if Caleb Williams is out there, very viable start this week. We talked about the Jaguars, like super, super possible that you could get him, stream him. Uh, Daniel Jones also is like, it's sickening, but he is playing Cincinnati. It's like a viable start. He's been decent. Ideally, you're hoping Malik Neighbors is back for a primetime game. That will help, although Darius Slayton did fill in super well this past week. So if you are in a pinch, you got like a Mahomes on a bye. If you've been riding with Sam Darnold, he's on a bye or something, like you could fill in if you have to there. You will feel horrible about it though.
Yeah,
At running back,
I got
you could
another
talk
quarter.
about.
I'm gonna throw one more
Okay.
quarterback in there. Kirk Cousins after last week
Yeah.
is number 13. And again, they're playing Carolina. Kirk could
Mhm.
easily put up 20 plus this week against the
Yep.
Panthers.
Um, at running back, he had a huge week this week. If he did not get picked up, you need to go pick him up. But Tyron Tracy filling in for Devin Singletary. Even if Singletary's coming back, he looked very explosive. He looked very good. This is a situation where you could probably see the rookie, even with a healthy guy in front of him, just start taking over as the
Handcuff
season goes on.
plus, as you like to call it.
Yeah, but like this is even more so. Like I don't even know. Like this might just end up being his backfield. Like
Yeah.
he looked that good. Aaron Jones got dinged up in the game. I don't know if it'll be a multi-week thing yet or not. But Ty Chandler's his backup. You could also probably sneak Ty Chandler because they're on a bye. A lot of people don't like scrolling down to see who's on the bye weeks. So if it is like a fab league, you might be able to get him on the cheap because people don't realize or think about things like that. Um, and then moving on to wide receiver, similar kind of thing. Juju Smith Schuster just had a huge game for the Chiefs, with it looking like Rashee Rice will be out for the year. Same kind of thing with Juju. He's on a bye this week and go maybe snag him a little cheaper now, or where people aren't really paying attention, and basically swipe him before everybody because they're just not realizing it. And then lastly, Jalen Tolbert looked great for the Cowboys. Brandon Cooks hurt, so basically he's their wide receiver 2 now, filling in. He actually led the Cowboys in receiving. I think he's a very viable option to go pick up.
Yeah, I want to highlight one defense here. The Texans D is on a lot of waivers, and they're playing New England this week. They're probably going to be gaining more than 10 points if you start
That's a
them.
New England Patriots that are starting Drake May. It seems like.
Yeah. Yep. They are starting Drake May. It's not going to be a good week in Foxborough. We'll touch on that in the bets in a minute. All right, let's get into the gambling. We're going to go through the lines. Thursday, we got 49ers at Seahawks. Seahawks getting 3.5. Sunday morning, another morning game. London, Jags versus Bears. Bears are favored by 2.5. Sunday, 1 p.m. window. Texans at Patriots. Patriots +7. Commanders at Ravens. Ravens -6.5. Browns at Eagles. Eagles -8.5. Cardinals at Packers. Packers -5. Colts at Titans. Titans +1. Bucks at Saints. Saints plus 3.5. 4 o'clock window. Chargers at Broncos. Broncos plus 3. Steelers at Raiders. Raiders plus 3. Falcons at Panthers. Panthers plus 6. Lions at Cowboys. Cowboys plus 3. Sunday night, we get Bengals at Giants. Giants plus 3.5. And on Monday, Bills at Jets. Jets plus 2. We said this earlier before we started recording, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 home dogs. 10 home dogs this week. That's a lot. What is your must-win game of the week?
I think it's got to be the Bengals this week. Sunday night game, playing at New York. You cannot go to 1-5. The Bengals have to win that game.
Yeah. I'm gonna put Eagles at home. Eagles off a bye, big favorite at home. If you lose that game against the Browns, who are a tire fire right now, that is not a good look for Sirianni. All right, let's go to our last week bets. I went 1-2, and that improved my winning percentage.
That was a good week.
That tells you how bad I'm doing. Wow, I had a good week. I went 1-2. That's ugly. You went 2-1. Took a mistake hitting that Saints last night. Otherwise, you wouldn't win 3-0. I'm now 3-13 on the year. Historic numbers. Andrew is 6-8-1. He's starting to creep back to 500.
We're gonna get there.
Yeah, this week I went with gut this week. I'm like, you know what? What's the gut instinct saying? And I'm going with it. You want to start it off?
I will. I have taken 3 road favorites this week, so surely that will not go wrong. I'm starting off. I'm taking the Chargers -3 at Denver. I don't like the matchup for Denver. This is going to be one of the better defenses that Bo Nix has faced. I know he's been playing a little better. This is going to be a tough one for him. I think this game is going to be paced exactly how the Chargers want it to be. It's going to be ugly. They're going to be able to run the ball, and I think they take that game. Then I just touched on it, but Cincinnati, they have to win that game. -3.5 at New York. I think they get it done. They've been improving each week. Ravens are just a good team, and they lost that game, but I think they get it done this week. And then lastly, Tampa Bay, -3.5 at New Orleans. Spencer Rattler might be starting this game, and Tampa Bay is a very good football team. Obviously, they've got a lot with this hurricane going through, and so there's a lot going on. But still, I think they take care of business in New Orleans.
I got Texans -7. I'm a New England fan, so if I'm taking Texans -7, that probably means something. I might be putting more than my normal amount of money on that. Drake May starting. Texans have a top 5 defense, regardless of who's hurt on the offensive side. Drake May might have a terrible game versus this D. I think the Texans win by 1,000,000. I'm taking Jags +2.5. I think they found something. They're going over to London. It's their city. I think they beat the Bears, but I'll take the Jags +2.5. And then lastly, I'm going Commanders +6.5. That's just, there's no respect there on the Commanders. 6.5 points. If there's one team, I was thinking, if there's one team in the league that can practice playing against Lamar, it's the Commanders, who have a guy on their side who is very similar to Lamar. So I know that the Commanders are an NFC team and Lamar is really good against NFC teams, but I feel like the Commanders are the one team that's like, all right, like we've been seeing this for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. We kind of know how to handle this. I think +6.5 is way too many, especially with the Ravens coming off that big time scoring game against the Bengals. So those are our bets of the week. Lock them in. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at screenplay_podcast. New episodes every Wednesday, 8 a.m., wherever you listen to podcasts. Good luck to Andrew in Utah this week. Pretty cool course. Make sure you check that out on TV. Any last words to say there?
No, just tank for Cam Ward.
Tank for Cam Ward. Yeah, Miami got away with one this week. Whew, you're a Miami fan.
Got away with one. What are you talking about?
Big comeback. All right. We will see y'all next week. Enjoy week 6 of NFL.